The story begins in a forest where we see a boy running away from someone. This boy is our main character, and he looks scared, with wounds all over his body. As he continues to run, he is tripped by a tree. With a surprised look, the boy stumbles and falls down the hill. He curses as he realizes that he can't move his leg anymore. Alarmed, he understands that what was chasing him has finally caught up to him. He slowly tries to get back on his feet and says to his pursuers, "Damn it all, are you telling me that I've been dancing in the palm of your hands from the start?" When he stands up, we see he is facing a group of assassins who are trying to kill him. The boy is visibly frustrated that the assassins led him to this place. One of the assassins speaks out, saying, "You must have had quite a lot of trouble running for an hour to reach here." "Well done, Prince Chion." It turns out that the boy's name is Chion, and he is a prince. Some of the assassins begin to mock him, and one even says, "All this waiting had me about to fall asleep." Chion wonders what he should do since he doesn't have the strength to run away. He suddenly asks the assassins why they are trying to kill him, considering he even gave up on enrolling in the academy. "What more do you want from me? Why are you aiming for my life?" One of the assassins replies that even if Chion gave up on the academy and has no talent in martial arts, he should know that doesn't matter as long as he has the right to the throne. This is the only way to prevent that. So you should give up already because there's no other way out. Chion is shocked as the assassins continue to speak. They say that even if he has a peasant's blood mixed in him, since he is still of the bloodline of that person, they'll send him off with a painless death. Chion becomes angry that the assassins dare to dishonor his mother by calling her a peasant. He knows there is no way they will give him a painless death. He draws a knife from his clothing and decides that if he is going to die anyway, he will fight until his very last breath. One assassin continues to mock Chion by asking if he learned some martial arts from a certain warrior named Zhang. As Chion stands facing the assassins with his knife pointed at them, the assassin thinks that it seems Chion didn't learn any martial arts. However, it appears he can't run away from his bloodline, seeing how, even without any training or skills, he doesn't want to give up until the end. The assassin is amused and thinks this will be a fun hunt. Suddenly, the assassin yells, "Kill him!" as they all rush to attack Chion. With the knife, Chion starts slashing at the assassins but fails to hit any of them. One of the assassins knocks the knife out of his hands and grabs him by the neck, lifting him off the ground. As Chion struggles to free himself, the assassin asks if this is the end of his little retaliation. Chion draws a second knife from his back, and another assassin screams for the one holding Chion to watch out. Before the assassin can react, he is stabbed in the neck by Chion. This turn of events leaves the other assassins shocked. Both Chion and the now dead assassin drop to the ground. Chion rejoices at the fact that the assassin got what he deserved, but the others are not amused. They can't figure out how this kid, who didn't even master martial arts, was able to kill one of their members. Were all those slashes an act to make them lower their guard? They realize that Chion managed to pull off such a clever act while being cornered and outnumbered by experienced killers. What if he had mastered martial arts? This thought upsets the assassins, so one of them rushes forward to attack Chion again. The assassin uses his knee to hit Chion's jaw, causing him to cough up blood as he lies on the ground. The angry assassin tells Chion that just because they went easy on him, he dared to kill one of them. He then stabs Chion in the stomach, and his screams echo throughout the forest. Chion continues to scream in pain from the stab wound. The assassin steps on his stomach, asking how it feels to have a hole in his gut. Chion thinks that he can't trick them twice, but at least he killed one of the assassins. The assassin steps harder on Chion's wound, angrily telling him to die a slow and excruciating death. As one assassin watches Chion being tortured, he thinks that torturing people is not his style at all. However, since their comrade died, he guesses there isn't any other choice. Before he can finish his thoughts, he sees a beam of light, and to his surprise, another comrade is blasted to death. Everyone is shocked by this, especially Chion, who is surprised that the one torturing him suddenly got his upper body explode. The remaining assassins are worried since all they saw was a beam of white light. Someone steps onto the scene, and one of the assassins notices his presence, alerting the others that the attacker is behind them. When the assassins turn around, they see a man glowing with lightning standing in the forest with them. The man is wearing futuristic clothing that is unfamiliar to the assassins. One of them wonders about the current situation, thinking he has never seen clothing like that before. As the strange man prepares to attack again, one of the assassins rushes forward and starts questioning him about his identity. As the assassin gets close to the strange man, the man smiles. With another beam of light, another assassin bites the dust. The rest of the assassins are shocked, but before they can react, the strange man disappears. The assassins are left wondering what is happening and what kind of skill the strange man is using. They think it seems like he becomes invisible and turns into water in an instant. But then another assassin is killed, leaving the rest confused about what exactly that light is that is killing their comrades. One of the assassins wonders if it might be the power of a master who has risen to the highest level. He questions why such an extraordinary master is defending Chion. The assassin looks at Chion, who is struggling to stay alive, and decides that he has lost too much blood to survive. Their mission is fulfilled. The assassin leaps into the air, trying to retreat, but the strange man stretches out his hand and uses his power to kill the assassin. Chion is pleased that the assassins got what they deserved, so he decides to die in peace. The strange man then says that even though his ancestor is on his deathbed, he is still in a happy mood. Chion wonders what kind of nonsense the strange man is talking about after appearing so suddenly and why he is being called an ancestor. Chion's eyesight starts to blur, making it hard to see the man. His entire body is becoming frigid, and he wonders if he is going to die like this. The strange man checks his watch and wonders if his pursuers have already found him. He guesses there is no other choice and takes something out of the bag he is carrying. He tells the nearly dead Chion that he is going to come here earlier to teach him how to use this item, but they will have to improvise. As he hurries, knowing Chion is about to die any moment, the strange man places a syringe on Chion and injects him with something. He does the same on his chest and tells Chion that the injection is making him cringe. When he is finished, the strange man tells Chion to succeed and make his life easier. Before the strange man leaves, he tells Chion that the nanomachine he just received is the latest version, so operating it should be simple enough. Good luck learning how to use it, he adds. Then, the strange man vanishes completely, leaving Chion alone. As Chion lies on the ground, he wonders what the strange man is blabbering about. Suddenly, he hears a voice say, "Serial number 034, 4532, 5893. Chion becomes alarmed and wonders why there is a voice inside his head. The voice continues. Sky Corporation, 7th generation nanomachine, starting activation. A long time ago, fighters of Jianghu learned martial arts to protect themselves from enemies. Over time, martial arts evolved from a method of self-defense into a tool for killing enemies. It grew more sophisticated and complex as simple forms became a series of movements, and the breathing techniques represented the basics of internal energy. The martial artists passed on their teachings and heirlooms to future generations, allowing martial arts to continue evolving. Those who mastered martial arts became more powerful than normal humans, and were soon called the Murim people. Fighters who wanted to be disciples of the Murim people gathered to form clans. These clans were divided into the forces of justice and the forces of evil. Between these two forces was another group that pursued an entirely different route, seeking only strength. The world called them the demonic cult. This is the story of Chion Yeo-woon, the illegitimate child of the highest-ranking family in the demonic cult who has the right to the throne. Chion regains consciousness and wakes up in bed. He is surprised he is alive, as he is sure his stomach has been pierced by a sword. Confused about what is happening, he notices he is sweating. Chion starts to cough and suddenly notices black spots on his body. He wonders what they might be and realizes that he smells awful. His whole body is sticky. The voice in his head asks if he is awake and addresses him as Master. Cheon is startled, but the voice repeats its question, asking if he is awake. Terrified, Cheon asks the voice, "Who are you?" He looks around but can't see anyone. "What is this?" he asks. The voice calls him Master again and tells him to calm down. Cheon wonders if it could be telepathy but quickly dismisses that idea, knowing he has heard it once before. However, it sounds different this time, as if it is coming directly from his head. He tries to dismiss that idea too, but the voice tells him he is right. Cheon asks again, "Who are you?" The voice replies that it connects and serves as a core to support its master's brain, and its master right now is Cheon. The voice then says, "I am Sky Corporation's 7th generation nanomachine." Still confused, Cheon asks what nano means and who it is, questioning why it is doing this to him. The nanomachine repeats that it is the 7th generation. Cheon wonders if it is called Nano Evil God, and the nano agrees. He then questions if it is referring to the evil god worshipped by the demonic cult. Quickly, he bows down and asks if Nano is the evil god. This act leaves Nano speechless. Outside Prince Cheon's room, 2 men are heading toward his chamber. One is a doctor named Dr. Beck, and the other is Warrior Jang, who was mentioned by the assassins. The doctor asks Warrior Jang if it was an assassination attempt, and he responds yes. Although there have been many assassination attempts recently, he didn't think they would send assassins directly after him. The doctor agrees, stating that only first-class guard Jang could go, as it was the only option they had. "But it's a miracle that Prince Cheon made it out alive," he adds. Warrior Jang thinks someone helped Prince Cheon but can't tell who that might be. The doctor asks if Warrior Jang can't guess the extent based on the markings from the attack. However, Warrior Jang recalls that the scene he saw yesterday was terrible. On the cold ground, there were corpses of men from the demonic cult, their upper bodies missing. Among them was one who still had his upper body intact, but the dagger he had given to Prince Cheon was stuck in his head. Nearby, he recognized Prince Cheon through the pools of blood. The doctor adds, "But he had no wounds on his body?" Warrior Jang responds yes, noting that Prince Cheon's breathing was like he was sound asleep, even though his clothes were torn by a sword. However, Prince Cheon's body was clean of any marks. The doctor wonders who could have helped the prince, as he doubts the cult leader would involve himself in a fight like this. Warrior Jang is also confused. The doctor chuckles, thinking that this is getting interesting, and asks to be led to the prince's room. Meanwhile, in Cheon's room, he is still under the impression that Nano is a god. He asks Nano if it was the one that saved his life. Nano replies that if he is talking about the one who saved him from the enemies, then no. However, it did save him by putting his dying body into self-healing mode. Cheon is confused, as he doesn't know what self-healing mode is. Nano then starts sending basic information to Cheon's brain, but he is still baffled as to why Nano keeps calling him Master. So, Nano decides to search for the right words to address Cheon in this era and culture. It tells Cheon that it is not the evil god he speaks of. Cheon notices that Nano's tone has changed and asks, "If you are not the evil god, then what are you?" Nano responds that it is trying to send basic information and a manual about itself to Cheon's brain. It asks if he wants to accept it, and Cheon responds yes. Thus, Nano starts downloading basic information and the manual into Cheon's brain. The process even makes him vomit. Nano reassures him that it's a natural reaction when you first receive information in your brain. Cheon begins coughing again, and Nano tells him that he won't feel dizzy or nauseous starting the second time. Cheon screams that he feels dizzy and wonders what is happening. Cheon calls out, "Nano machine!" It responds, and Cheon asks if it is true that thousands of machines are now embedded in his body. Nano confirms that in fact, 6,482,040,000 nanomachines have been placed inside him. Cheon wonders what Nano is, as it isn't human or a god. He asks Nano what would happen if he wants it to get out of his body. Nano tells him that, as he saw in the information sent, it is programmed to only be extracted from the body after its master's death. Cheon realizes that his so-called half-brothers are desperately trying to kill him, and he doesn't even have any strength. Now, there is a fully unidentified nanomachine in his body. He wonders why this happened to him. As he tries to ask Nano who put it into his body, Warrior Jang knocks on the door, telling the prince that Dr. Beck is here to examine him. Cheon panics and tells Nano to stay quiet. He worries they will think he is weird if they see him talking to a voice inside his head, but Nano reassures him that it can read his thoughts to communicate, so it is temporarily going into silent mode. Cheon quickly silences it, and then gets back into bed. Warrior Jang and the doctor enter the prince's room, assuming he is still asleep, so they decide to stay quiet. However, Warrior Jang notices that the prince is now awake. He rushes to Cheon's side but realizes that the prince's body smells terrible. Cheon is embarrassed by this fact. The doctor approaches the prince and asks if they have met before. Cheon confirms this, claiming he can never forget the doctor who came to see his mother when she was sick. The doctor asks the prince to give him his hand so he can check his pulse. Cheon is a bit skeptical, but the doctor reassures him to comply. As the doctor checks Cheon's pulse, he notices something strange. Warrior Jang becomes worried, thinking something bad has happened to Prince Cheon. The doctor says that it is rather the opposite and that this could be a rare opportunity for Prince Cheon. Warrior Jang is confused and asks what the doctor means. The doctor explains that Cheon's entire body has been cleansed of any dirty substances, and his energy flow has been activated. Did he take some kind of special medicine? Cheon wonders. The doctor tells him that now he has the perfect body to train in martial arts. Cheon realizes that the sticky black spots are the waste that comes out of his body. He asks Nano if it was the one who did it. Nano tells him to deactivate silent mode, and he does. Nano explains that the nanomachines placed throughout his entire body have extracted the waste and reshaped the blood vessels, joints, and muscles to fit his body shape. Cheon is shocked. If Nano is not an evil god, he thinks. Nano denies this and says it is just a machine. The demonic cult was made up of many families and clans, but only 6 clans were considered main clans: the Dark Clan, the Sword Clan, the Poison Clan, the Sound Clan, the Blade Clan, and the Spring Clan. The cult leader was bound by an oath to marry a woman from each of the 6 clans to produce descendants. Those descendants were raised in their respective clans, and when they reached a certain age, they were admitted to the Demonic Academy. The Academy, which opens every 10 years, is headed by leading experts from the magistrate and was founded to train the best warriors of each generation. During this time, there was unusually intense competition. Whenever several princes joined the academy, it was referred to as the Battle of the Heirs by the magistrates. Back in Cheon's room, after confirming that Nano is not an evil god, he becomes aware that the doctor is skeptical of him. He decides he needs to keep the fact that a nanomachine is in his body a secret. However, Nano reassures him that the technology of this era will not be able to detect its presence. The doctor is sure that Cheon received help from someone. He then tells the prince that there is nothing wrong with his body, but he will prescribe a tonic to help him regain his energy. Warrior Jang thanks the doctor. The doctor decides to leave, and as Warrior Jang offers to see him out, the doctor refuses and asks Jang to watch over the prince. Once outside the room, the doctor thinks it is strange that a person can change so much. A long time ago, he was sure that Cheon would be pushed out of the ranks due to his weak body and lack of knowledge in martial arts. But now, with his current state, he could probably learn martial arts better than any other prince. He is the illegitimate child of the Lord, after all, so he wonders if the Lord is secretly helping him. The doctor thinks the upcoming Demonic Academy will be noisy this time. Cheon is glad that the doctor did not catch on. Come to think of it, The reason why he is alive is all thanks to Warrior Jang. Even though the nanomachine healed him, if Warrior Jang hadn't come in time, he would be dead. As he's about to thank Warrior Jang, he is stopped by him, who asks him to wash up first. The embarrassed prince agrees. While Cheon is washing up, he calls out to Nano and asks how much the self-healing mode can heal. Nano tells him that any internal or external wound caused by an impact can be healed quickly. However, blood loss or decapitation will take much longer, as they require cell division. Cheon is confused, as usual, since Nano is saying things he cannot fully understand. He asks if it will be fine to test it out. Cheon picks up a knife and cuts himself. A few seconds later, Nano activates the self-healing mode on his left palm, and the stabbed wound begins to heal instantly. Cheon is shocked. Although he saw it happen, it's hard for him to believe. Now, he knows it at least works. He wonders if he can use all those functions described earlier. Nano confirms that he will be able to use everything shown in the instructions. So he decides to try it all out after his bath. As Cheon stands on his feet, he is shocked to find his body has become more muscular and toned. He asks Nano if it is responsible for this too. Nano tells him that it reconstructed his body. While Nano continues to explain what it did, an old lady comes in to dress the prince. Nano explains that while it is scientifically impossible to create something out of nothing, it's not difficult to reconstruct an existing part of the body. All this explanation makes Cheon feel like everything he has learned is useless. He decides to call Nano simply Nano, as the full name is too long. He then heads to his study and asks Nano what he should do. Nano tells him to pick a book and flip through each page. Cheon informs Nano that the only books related to martial arts are about blood points and chi. He decides to read about blood points, thinking it might be more useful. He tells Nano he is about to start, then begins flipping through the book as fast as he can. As soon as he finishes flipping through the pages, Nano successfully scans the book and asks Cheon if he wants to accept the information about to be transferred into his brain. He agrees, and the information from the book is successfully transferred. This time, he doesn't vomit, and Nano tells him he will get used to it. When Cheon is done, he sits down, and Nano tells him that if he wishes to use the acquired knowledge, he can simply think about it to bring it up. Cheon tries to think about blood points, and before he knows it, he can recite facts about blood points that he didn't even learn consciously. He is surprised that he fully understands the content and realizes that Nano has corrected all the errors he had regarding blood points. Cheon is still in shock, realizing he can learn and master martial arts faster than anyone else. He thinks about the candidates from the 6 clans who have mastered many fighting techniques since they were infants. Even after watching them, he still struggled to master the 3 JSIM methods. He knows that many martial arts books are in the Demonic Academy, and with Nano, he is going to become stronger and faster than anyone else in the academy. That is his goal now. In the chamber of the air candidate, in the south castle of the demonic cult, we see one of Cheon's so-called half-brothers, Prince Mukium. He turns out to be the one who sent the assassins to rid himself of Cheon, but none of them returned alive, a fact he finds hard to believe. The servant who reports the news suggests that someone secretly helped Cheon. He addresses the prince as Prince Mukium, but the prince gets furious at the servant for calling him by name without permission, and the servant quickly apologizes. Prince Mukium thought that Cheon, being of low blood, would be easy to kill. But it seems like he had something up his sleeve, he says. He even tried to get Warrior Jang involved, but it appears there is someone else protecting him too. Mukium states that he didn't want to get his hands dirty, but now there is no choice. He has to kill Cheon himself at the Demonic Academy. Back at Cheon's castle, he lies in bed with his eyes open, unable to sleep due to nervousness. He goes to open his windows and remarks that it's already day for him to join the academy. However, he notices Warrior Jang training in the compound and wonders if it would have been better if he had learned secretly. Warrior Jang's dagger techniques come to mind, But Cheon dismisses the idea, knowing very well that the people of the 6 clans watching him will not leave him alone. When his mother passed away, he made an oath not to learn martial arts until he was admitted to the academy. Nano calls out to Cheon and asks if he would like to scan Warrior Jang's movements. Cheon is surprised that Nano can do something like this. "Can you scan the movements of other people?" he asks. Nano agrees, explaining that it can scan Warrior Jang's martial arts training and transfer it to Cheon's head. Nano also mentions that it has a database of various martial arts techniques that can be transferred over to the user, and it can be done right now. Cheon wonders if it's okay to take Warrior Jang's martial arts techniques without his permission. However, he decides he must do it since he will be going to the academy later that afternoon and doesn't have time to worry about such things. Cheon asks Nano to start scanning Warrior Jang's movements. In half an hour, the movement scanning is completed. Cheon feels a headache as Nano begins to transfer the moves into his brain. After a few seconds, the transfer is done. Cheon claims that the process is more bearable than yesterday. After thinking for a moment, he realizes he has obtained Warrior Jang's dagger skills. He leaps to grab a knife and closes the window so Warrior Jang doesn't see him. Cheon takes a stance with the knife, and in the blink of an eye, he performs Warrior Jang's dagger technique, the same way he has been training for 20 years. He wonders if this process will allow him to avoid daily training to learn techniques. Nano tells him that since the movement scan was activated, muscle analysis for the training movements has been completed. "Would you like to accept the transfer to your muscles?" it asks. Cheon is unaware he would need a muscle transfer as well. Nano tries to explain that if he doesn't get the muscle transfer, he will experience pain. Before Nano can finish, Cheon starts to feel pain throughout his body, causing him to drop to the floor. Nano explains that through repetitive training, the body develops muscles suited for specific movements. Since Cheon's body hasn't developed those muscles, damage will occur. Cheon asks Nano to explain it more simply. Nano clarifies that Cheon has not trained like Warrior Jang for a long time, so even if his brain has learned the movements, his body won't be able to adjust. He must undergo muscle assimilation to fully master the movements. Only after the transfer can he effectively use the techniques. Now understanding that he needs a muscle transfer to avoid pain, Cheon agrees. Nano asks if he would like to start the transfer, but warns that it will require every nano machine in his body, taking a couple of hours and causing significant pain. He will be put under anesthesia shortly. Cheon agrees to the transfer, and shortly after it begins, he starts feeling pain all over his body. Nano injects the anesthesia, and Cheon passes out onto his bed. Meanwhile, Warrior Jang is preparing food for Prince Cheon, recalling his mother, Lady Hua, who had asked Jang to take care of Cheon 5 years ago. She died from consuming poisoned food, and now, the young prince is entering the academy today. Warrior Jang prays that Lady Hua can protect the prince from heaven so he can survive and have another meal. Suddenly, Jang hears the prince screaming from his room and rushes over to check if he's okay. However, he finds the prince passed out. Jang checks his pulse to see if anything is wrong but finds nothing unusual. As Warrior Jang begins to wonder what is going on, he notices some footsteps on the floor and realizes that the prince has been watching his training. Cheon has already caught up to 20 years of training. If you enjoyed this recap, please give a like to support the channel and subscribe for more chapters. Thank you.